back, everybody. It's me, E-Man, and I am joined once again by Don Shanahan. Say hello to the fine people.
The fine people, hello.
There you go. We just got out of a very, very big movie.
Yeah.
You might have heard of it. It's coming out.
Don't say it.
Should we not spoil it? No,
Yeah.
F that. We are doing
We're
spoilers. Because, of course, this is not going to release until much after my spoiler-free review, which you should hopefully have already viewed and or read. But yes, we are doing Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And if we sound a little bit, lower in our volume,
yes,
it's only because we really don't want to spoil it for the people that are around us.
Right. We are in a theater lobby right after seeing the screening, and there are bartenders and customers here who know we're doing this. We're like, don't you dare talk about this movie. So we're leaning in like a couple of kids with flashlights reading comic books under sheets right now.
Yes, because we still need to make sure that you guys have something to process, because there's a lot to chew with this movie. So why don't we just kind of go right from the beginning? I mean, coming into the film, what were your expectations?
My expectations were, I know a lot of people gave The Force Awakens a hard time for kind of following the New Hope kind of template, like, we're going to use those story kind of lines and narratives to kind of make an echo of a film or an overly, similar arc and homage. So I expectations is a strong word, but I had wondered if, like, how Empire Strikes Back were they going to go with this middle chapter? Where, like, what cliffhanger are they holding on to us? What elevation of this is coming? What twist is coming? And I figured, all right, they're setting us up for something. I had that the idea that this is J.J. Abrams' little mini universe here, and when I think of J.J. Abrams, I think of Lost. I think of all the ways that he is there to misdirect us. I've avoided a lot of, clickbait and think piece articles in the last 2 years, but even so, my brain still can't stop thinking of a fan theory or two. So I had wondered, all right, how much is going to come out of this as a Empire Strikes Back thing? But my expectation was just be a good middle chapter, raise the stakes, elevate and progress a story. Don't necessarily finish the whole thing, where I'm okay being left hanging, but be a strong middle chapter. Don't be a lazy middle chapter, be a strong middle chapter. And I got that.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, going in, I wanted this to be way better than The Force Awakens, because I want to see progression, right?
Right.
And similar to yourself, like, I did not want to see a rehash of Empire Strikes Back, because The Force Awakens to me was like basically a modern day version of Star Wars: A New Hope. So it was I was really going in to make sure that they weren't going to do 100% living in the past and rehashing the same themes and going over the same plots and stuff, and giving us something fresh and different. And fortunately for us, this entire movie almost, as we talked about on a previous podcast, deconstructed everything that we thought we knew about Star Wars, which, if you think about it, after 7 movies in, that was a pretty tall task, to do.
And it was ripe for a change. Like, to not be repetitive, especially if we're going to put the Disney machine to it and make these movies, at least this trilogy every 2 years and another Star Wars movie every year. Like, if we're going to start compressing and compacting and maximizing this product, how can it evolve?
Right.
And it did.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it evolved in so many different ways. I mean,
unexpected.
Absolutely unexpected. Well, let me talk about the first thing that was unexpected. I had no idea they were going to have so much humor put into this movie.
You think doom and gloom dark chapter and you don't get it.
I mean, you were thinking that, going in, again, another Empire Strikes Back trope, but, they really didn't rely on that, even though there were some gloomy elements to it. It was really smart, I thought, how they put the humor in, but it didn't feel like a reshoot from a comic book movie that recently dropped.
No.
Yeah.
It's true.
So this humor was a better way to show how you can be in a dire situation, find a way to add some comedic element to it without it going overboard, by the way.
Right.
But
where levity has confidence instead of something else.
And more importantly, you bring it back full circle to the actual dire situation at hand.
Right.
So, with Poe doing his whole little shtick with I'm calling for, the Colonel or whatever.
I
like,
was worried.
I was kind of like, oh my God, are we watching Spaceballs now? Because it was just like, we're really being comedic here, and you've got this little ship going against this huge, massive fleet.
First 10 minutes of the movie.
First 10 minutes,
haven't
right
gone
off
back
the bat,
to the island.
and
we're like,
that's
you
what
wanna
we're
jump
doing.
in?
So I was really happy that it was done for a purpose,
Yep.
and it wasn't done as a studio checkbox. Hey, we need to add some humor, put it in right now. So it was really, really cool that they added that, and also from the very beginning. Even with the very introductory, crawl that they normally do, a long, long time ago in the galaxy far, far away,
Right.
et cetera, I almost felt as though I was pulled right back into a time machine, but in a good way.
Sure.
Like, it was like, oh, is this what someone in 1977 felt like? Or in 83 or whenever, Empire Strikes Back? Is this what an audience member felt like with this grandeur?
Right.
With
the waiting between part 1 and part 2.
Like just seeing everything on the screen. It's pitch black with stars, and you're in the middle of space, and then you've got this huge spaceship just coming in out of nowhere. Like, I felt like a kid, sitting back watching a sci-fi film for the first time, and I really loved how they captured that. The battle scenes. I didn't think I'd ever enjoy a spaceship battle like that.
I've enjoyed plenty of them, so it wasn't hard for me. But this one was pretty darn impressive.
Oh yeah,
that opening one, the end one on the Salt Planet is pretty darn good too.
Yes.
The pop of color, the ground versus ground, it was a small scale battle done with big scope. Because it's not a very that battle at the end isn't a very big battle. It's 13 little skimmers and then a couple of walkers, but they make it look so huge because of the color and the size and the moments and the importance and what you built up to there.
Yes, the colors were so great in this one.
Not just that scene, but everywhere.
Yeah, because in the previous movies, the most color you'd really have is in the phasers or the lights. Okay, the red
maybe
and the green.
Maybe a sunset or two.
Maybe, but
here
this
you have the lush green island. It's beautiful.
They really used the atmosphere and the environment in a way to really just bring you into this visually. Whether it be a fight on the planets or the fight, out in outer space. And I really liked how each of the little missions that they had to do, they weren't as hokey as, we got to go shoot this one little spot and then boom, blow stuff up. Like,
there's only one I thought was hokey, and we
which
talked
one
about
was
that? The trip to the casino planet.
Oh,
For
yeah,
me,
yeah.
It feels like the wrong. It's nice to see a different end of the universe and stuff like that, but. It's in this moment of the film where they only have 6 hours left until their fuel runs out, and we're gonna take this side trip at this point in the movie, right around the hour and a half mark when we're kind of running. We need a little push. I thought that was the wrong push in the wrong place.
Yeah, and
not terribly hokey.
No,
hokey enough for me where I'm like, oh god, let's get off the Alpaca planet.
But you know what? I wonder if that also goes into one of my issues with the film, which was it felt like it could have ended so many different places. And, this movie is long, but you forgive it, right?
You do.
Because
it gives you more.
It keeps giving you more, but it's like, geez, when were we supposed... Okay, are we supposed to end, when they...
Throne room.
In the throne room. Like, that would have been a great place to end it.
Imagine if they would have ended it with the tug of war. In that moment,
I wanted them to end it with the tug of war.
Who wins
and
that
then we
tug?
just come back in the third movie picking up right there. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, because that also would have been because you don't know how the fleet turned out.
Right.
That
We
would
don't
have
know
been
anything.
a taut moment in about
no
the
idea.
hour and 40 mark. That'd be a tight movie.
Absolutely. And you know what? Given the fact that it is a second, sequel, I would have been okay with that.
Yep.
I would have been mad that I couldn't see more, but I'd be like, damn, you guys got me.
But we want to be gotten.
We want to be gotten, but the way that they, I don't know, like just the whole tone was just kind of like, okay, we're going to have this big, huge situation. Okay, semi-resolved. Okay, now let's go on to a side story. Then, all right, that's going to escalate to another point. All right, semi-resolved. All right, let's go on to another side story.
Yeah.
So it did seem like there was a lot going on.
Too many moving parts in a film like this?
I don't want to say it's too many, but the mere fact that I felt as though the movie was going to end multiple different times.
Yeah.
There's something off.
Yeah, I'll say there's
it's
too much
not
there.
detrimental. It doesn't lose like 5 points on a scale,
No.
but it is like
I might lose one.
half a point ding.
Yeah,
because it was like I shouldn't have to notice this. But yeah, the movie's length was something there. But I know we're jumping around a little bit, but man,
it all
with
into it.
Snoke, I thought.
Talk about Snoke.
First of all, I love the fact that they actually showed him this time
Yes,
around.
thank goodness.
Like,
and the right man to do it.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah, Andy Serkis and that performance capture work is gorgeous.
Absolutely. And I mean, if we had to deal with some more projections or holograms, I would have been like, come on now. But I love the fact that not only did they give him to us, but they really emphasized just how powerful he was.
He was.
I love the fact that they made him the real mastermind, and how he could circumvent almost everyone.
Yes.
Even when Rey tried to do her own little forced pull, and he was like, no, smack you upside the head instead. I'm in control here.
Right.
But what do you think about his decision to, I guess in a sense, underestimate Kylo Ren? Do you think that was
effective or valid? Man, I don't know how Kyle did it. I think Snoke is, because of how powerful, I think he's too quickly dispatched. When you put it all together, you have this great. I mean, it's a fantastic scene.
Great scene.
And if that's your Kylo push scene, or if that's your Rey come around scene, but for Snoke to be dispatched that quickly, essentially, I don't know. Yeah, that might be my next half-point ding.
That's definitely turning the formula upside down,
which I was okay with.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fine. I mean,
yeah.
Imagine if they had killed off Darth Vader in like the first 15-20 minutes of Strikes Back.
Yeah.
I do think that it was,
especially with the 4 climaxes that follow it. Like, if this is the guy, and he's done with 30 minutes of movie left.
Yeah. So I was kind of like disappointed in the fact that I've never really seen, because this is obviously a setup for Kylo to, ascend to his place, right, as being the new bad guy or whatever. And I never really felt that he's earned that.
I agree with that.
Because with the whole, switch or switching sides or being conflicted and all that, excuse me. I mean, I understood it. I liked how they kind of muddled up his past a little bit. Like, oh, is that the story you heard? I did like the fact that they did that, but at no point did I ever think to myself like, oh, he's fully committed or he's done it. I mean, they had that opportunity with Leia a couple times. I mean, they teased it that maybe he's the one that finally does her away with her or whatever. But they shied away from it. So now I don't see how his motivations make him a compelling villain in the future movies. But then again, we have no idea what they're going to do.
No, I mean, I think the flurry of think pieces that are going to follow in the next 2 years are going to be the what is Kylo Ren, because there's so much ambiguity for where this movie goes. Because I called it in my notes a tug of war, a tug of war between what where he can go, what he can be, because they keep using that word turn, they keep using those parallels between Vader, and you keep expecting, all right, well, if it's going to happen like that, when's it going to happen? So I think we're waiting for that other shoe to fall with whatever Kylo's going to be, but the movie does enough back and forth and guessing that we don't know, and we might not. I mean, and obviously, I got to think something's coming in the third film that will wrap up what Kylo Ren is. And I'm happy that it wasn't, black and white and told to us this movie. But at the same time, it's good ambiguity, but it's still questionable ambiguity. I have faith that they're going to put some cement to that in the next film, which is good. But it's a fair question mark.
How did you feel about the new characters that were introduced? So like Rose, for example.
Sure.
Or Benicio.
Sure. Yeah. Decent. I wasn't, wholly compelled and moved to pieces by anybody. I mean, you kind of know what you're going to get. I mean, Benicio del Toro is a known enough quantity an actor where you know you're going to get a quirky guy, you know you're going to get an eccentric character of some kind, and you got that. So he wasn't a shock to me in any way. I really did appreciate the Rose character as a nice elevated thing. I think it's you needed to give something else for Finn to kind of bounce off of other than the reformed traitor thing, and if she's going to continue to nudge him from that reformed traitor thing, and if there's a budding of romance there, which is nice. She was welcome. I don't know if it was the most moving thing in the world, but it was welcome.
Okay.
You? How do you feel about it?
I liked it. Look, I've kind of been as a casual Star Wars movie fan. So I haven't read the comics. I don't play the video games. I've just watched all the movies.
That's around that too.
Yeah, I appreciated a sensible approach to a different character that's not a Skywalker.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I enjoyed the fact that we got that. I wasn't a fan of the stutter with Benicio. I thought it was a little extra. We get it. You're eccentric. Whatever.
That's what you get for getting Del Toro.
I know, right? But I like the fact that we explored some of the other characters. Finn's not new anymore, or Poe, but I like the fact that we got to see a little bit more. Well, we got a lot more Poe this time, unexpectedly even.
Is he a one-note hothead though?
No, because
I think, but was it too much of the same stuff?
No, because I think at this point it was all done with a purpose. This was a maturation process for Poe.
Very much so.
He was finally able. This whole movie was him developing into the future rebel leader that he's clearly about to take over for
we'll
Leia.
Get that in the third. Yeah.
So
the right steps.
Yeah. Okay. So
next,
let's talk about Leia, man. First of all, loved her performance. Loved her
such grace. Yeah. Nicely done.
There's no question about it. She immediately pulls at the heartstrings.
Ooh, you bet.
Just knowing that she's no longer with us, but leaves probably some of her best work, on the film.
You could say it. I'm opposite to you, so you start. I'll finish.
Okay, look, I'm sorry. I thought that little force reach at the end, at the very beginning, was so poor. It was such a bad transition. Yes, I know that Leia is force sensitive. We've always understood that suspicion, because I don't even think that was confirmed. Maybe it was with Luke and her kind of feeling each other or whatever, but I chalk that up to just being twins, first of all. But, okay,
now
fine.
You're watching too much This Is Us.
And that could be that. But,
too much Kate and Kevin here.
We could put that aside.
All right, good.
I did not think it was a smooth enough transition into seeing her utilize the Force to that magnitude, so quickly.
Well, here's the what if. What if she always could, and didn't? And almost to our previous podcasting buddy's points. What if she always could but didn't? Chose not to, and wanted to be the leader and the diplomat, and I need to win over hearts this way, and not just be the all-powerful person and legend my brother is. I'm going to do it my way, the woman of governance. And then, but I this is a terrible comparison, but, is she the good version of Nathan Petrelli in the first season of Heroes, where remember when he kind of plays the ascending politician president, but he's actually the most powerful mutinish kind of character next to his brother and all that. I'm not saying she's been hiding it the whole film. I'm always angry. She's not Mark Ruffalo or anything, but I get the apprehension where it's a jump. I don't think it's it's quite a jump though. I get it, but it's a big reach. But I love it. It's such a it's just such a big cool moment. In a movie that needed a big cool moment at that point for me.
It's one of those things where I totally understand that other point about maybe she had it all along. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Maybe she did want to focus on being a politician. I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
Both of those are besides the point, though.
Okay.
Because, again, this is more so a question of execution, right?
Sure.
You didn't need to show me that much
Yeah.
of her ability so quickly, so just dramatically.
And we said we were watching a Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. And I mean, this is, cinematically speaking, it's kind of like, how did we get from this to this? Again, had we seen maybe like just little rumblings of her abilities prior. And again, I'm not talking about forced communication,
No.
I'm talking about
big stuff.
like maybe we've seen her maybe move something once, or maybe something just kind of hinted at it, or even during that specific scene, maybe she just subtly pushed herself, because she is in space, right? So if she's in space, all you need is just a little bit of momentum to float you over. That would have been fine. If you could have given me a little bit of ambiguity, just like how with Nolan and the spinning top or something, where we can sit there and question, like, wait, did she use the Force? But like this whole thing, and I'm mad because she was reaching. It is a reach, and I'm just like, ugh.
Does it not help? Does it not help that because Carrie Fisher is no longer with us, and we know that, and they've addressed it off screen and in the PR and stuff, like they have an exit plan of closing this character, and we know it's coming. We didn't know if it was going to be this movie, we don't know if it was going to be the next movie, but we know we're not going to get Carrie Fisher. So I admit, I'm kind of watching the film going, all right, how are they going to address Carrie Fisher? And so, like, how are they going to kill her? How's this going to happen? We're going to have it, like, some death is going to come in, and if that was the moment of death, when Kyle pulls back from doing the deed, but the deed still happens and the regret's on it, but we still lose our wonderful leader at this portion of the film. Like, that moment, if that was her last moment, it's a hell of a moment, because you get especially that twisting of the knife of watching her float away in space. Like, if that was it, that's But and then it turns into the complete opposite, which is this huge moment of power,
anti-Yondu moment. I wanted that moment. Like, I wanted to see her float, because I was just like, oh, so that's how we're gonna get rid of her. Okay, like, you know what? I saw it.
If it wasn't that moment, I thought she was gonna do the Lauren Durr thing. I thought she was gonna light speed a cruiser through a
that would be cool.
If that was her blaze of glory, that would have been awesome.
I mean,
much like her husband maybe could have done.
Right. That
I was waiting for that.
Cool. I mean, so either way, she was still, and that's a very mild criticism.
Mild,
right? Like, again, it's one of those things that you kind of eye roll, but at the same time, the movie does so many good things that you forgive a lot of other stuff in the process. Just like the time. Like, yes, the movie's long, but, we can forgive it because you gave us something cool here.
Is this healing, and will this hold up on repeat views, or are we gonna start to feel fanlexia, to use the E-Man's movie reviews term? Like, are we buzzing about this movie and forgiving it when 2 years from now we watch it and go, oh gosh, that's so terribly hokey because time has not passed and the buzz is worn off?
I would say,
will this hold up?
I want to say no, only because I'm listening to that little voice of, hey, that was actually a problem, but at the same time, I'm, whenever you're dealing with fanlexia, right, you're ignoring that little bad critic side of you, the side of you that's like, look, you see these errors, don't neglect that. But
that's where I'm at with the Podameron scene, the Casino Planet, some of this Fisher stuff. Like, I'm on that.
The two ways you can go about it is, one, sleep on it and see if you feel the same way.
Yep.
Or two, confront it. And I confronted the Leia scene, and I'm like, you know what? This was kind of bad. I didn't really like it. However, it doesn't disrupt the movie.
That's true.
It doesn't throw it off.
You can step back to the objective part.
Right. I can sit there and be like, you know what? I'm not making a biased pass.
No.
Even though I see something glaringly, just
we have friends of ours that will never get past that biased pass.
Right. And that's totally fine. Like, I'm not going to harp on anyone that's like, no, that was a cheesy move. Okay, fine. It could be that way, but it really didn't disrupt the movie. Like, no one's going to be like, well, I'm never going to watch this because
that's
of
like
that.
us talking about 5 climaxes. We're happy we got more. We're happy we got a nice full-bodied film. We could probably step back and go, you could have cut it off a few times, but it doesn't take away.
Right.
You still got a full experience.
Right. So, moving on to the other Skywalker.
Yes.
How did you feel about his journey and where he ended up.
Good question. I liked it. I thought it was very mature. I thought it was a great way of, I mean, yeah, like it when the reveal comes that he's turned it all off, it makes a lot of other things make sense earlier and then previous and things like that. And if that's what that character through his failures had to do, I buy it. And a great grizzled performance with plenty of gravitas from Hamill. It's not all. I thought that when I watched, I didn't watch all the trailers, but when I'm watching at least the first trailer, I'm like, oh great, here comes our older mentor role. Here comes Liam Neeson. Here comes, how many movies have we seen an older mentor character guide our young, wonderful, sprightly hero, and it wasn't that at all. And I was so pleased that it was that he was part of the tug of war too, and a nice, mature, solid performance. Respectful performance given to Hamill, a guy who hasn't been in a film in a long time to this extent and range. So, that guy still got it. It just knowing what he is and where he's come from. It's a nice, it's the right performance, because. Yet we our colleagues have said the reports were that he didn't like the direction of this character, and if our guesses are. Where's the young hero I was that you hollowed me into this Man of Sadness? I thought the Man of Sadness played well. What did you think? I'm cool with it.
No, I mean I like what Luke had to go through because if anything, and this kind of harkens back to the original movies. His training was never completed.
Yep.
So Luke, even though he's the last Jedi by default, and even though he's again, by default, a Master Jedi. He's still by far like an imperfect Master Jedi. So I really like that this kind of manifested itself later on, just in his decision making.
Because if this was the mentor and the Master route, like the Liam Neeson route, I'll call it the Liam Neeson route. It'd be too easy. It'd be
way too easy. I mean, he would be able to give Rey all the perfect answers and all that, but
because if he was human Yoda, it'd be too easy.
No, yeah. I mean, and I really like the fact, speaking of special guest appearances, I really like the fact that they brought him back.
Great scene.
It was a great scene. I mean, granted, they didn't do the CGI version. They brought the real old school version back. But I love the fact that Yoda's kind of like, oh, you're just same old Luke. You never got it. And they just have that little master student moment where they're like, oh, this is what you were teaching me all this time. Like, oh, that makes so much sense. And and I really like how even Yoda, to a certain extent anyway, was kind of agreeing with Luke in terms of
the nature of the world where it's going.
He's like, look, like being a Jedi and using the Force and all that comes from inside in your heart.
Bigger than the doctrine.
It's not it's not just what the textbooks say, and I mean I noticed a lot of and I'm gonna bring my religious education into this now. It was one of those. There was some parallel here because the Jedi is a religion in that area. It was very interesting how you could look at it in two different ways. One, it's almost similar to when people reject religion and they say well, I'm spiritual, not religious,
Sure.
Okay, there's that. And then there's another path where you reject the traditional doctrine, but yet you go with, you're still within the religion, but you just create a more organic spiritual journey within it. And I think the latter is what Yoda was kind of saying. Not to say hey, ditch the dark side or ditch the light side and, go gray. But if you're going to do what you're doing, make sure that it's coming from within and it encompasses everything. So it shouldn't just encompass doing the right thing and being perfect. It should also encompass your failures and your weaknesses.
The message of failure that came out of this is
exactly
really strong. And for it to come from Yoda, is the right place for it.
Right. And I love that because I thought that encapsulated more of like what the Force and just living life really meant in that time frame.
If there's one life lesson that goes with the niche of my reviews that I don't want to say because I want that moment to hit the audience and not come out of my review, that's the one. I'd love to do a life lesson on failure, but I don't want to put that one in there initially because it's I got to thinly veil it if I do, you know.
Yeah,
I think failure is a given because we see this sad Luke and the trailers and the marketing already say it, so I can thinly veil it, but it's a strong one. It's a good one too.
So, Luke's... Well, let me ask this real quick. When he was fighting Kylo Ren, because I really enjoyed their battle, I can't recall if... I mean, obviously we know that there was a big fake out with this, and Luke was never really there. He probably played the greatest Jedi mind trick that has ever been seen.
It was damn
because he even fooled an android.
Yes, he did.
Which, to me, I don't even know if that's logically possible. Or
aren't they scanning
they're
seeing,
they're
right?
seeing, but he was like, "Oh, Master Luke," you know. So Luke crossed some weird planes here with, which is awesome because I love the fact that they use the Force in a way that has never been done before. But my goodness, those stakes are raised so high.
Like I say, like a good middle film should.
Yeah.
If we're going the trilogy route, that's what a good second film is supposed to do. Look at The Dark Knight. Look at Godfather 2. I mean, all the great middle chapters of trilogies, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, they elevate and they bring it huge. And it's perfect. Yeah. Perfect for what the purpose is.
Now, that was probably like one of the best scenes to me, especially with Kylo and Luke going at it, and Luke getting his whole Matrix on. How do you feel about Luke's ending though? Because it did feel very Obi-Wan Kenobi from the very first original. The whole disappearing thing. I felt like it was cheap in the original ones, but I understood. You go with it, because at that time there were no expectations. But I don't know if, Luke disappearing now is kind of like a callback to say like, hey, what happened with Obi-Wan wasn't so cheap because it happened again, and it happened with someone like Luke.
And it happened on another plane,
right,
so to speak.
Right, and it's just one of those things like, oh, he just joined the Force rather than he was struck down.
Exactly.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah. That's why I'm buying this one more than the Obi-Wan one.
See,
I feel the one of the Force. I feel the exhaustion of the exit of where he was coming from.
Yeah,
and if he is in the sequel, and I think he is.
Yeah, well, he would have to as a ghost or whatever now.
But if he can do what we got from Yoda this film, or even more, or
Yoda brought down some lightning,
or even if he's a pile of robes right now, and his, I'm going to call it the Charles Xavier astral form. Like if that's the way we see him, the rest of this, I know we called it hair clip men. The young, if he's more than just the blue ghost, and he's a projection now.
I think it'd
be cool.
I think he'll be like the image.
He'll be
there.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I mean, one of the things that I loved about this movie is that they removed the anchors that was holding it down, which in this case, in my opinion, was all the older characters. I was very okay with Han dying. I was very okay with. I was hoping they'd get rid of Leia.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And it was bittersweet, but I was okay with Luke also dying because I did not want this whole entire franchise to be all about him. Now, granted, we do have another Skywalker in Ben Solo, kind of related.
Yeah.
But
it's different.
It's different.
And to answer some more spoilers, the fact that Rey isn't a Kenobi and a Skywalker really helps.
I mean, I like that because now we could just start fresh. We don't have to worry about who's connected to who and what's her past. And she had some, crappy parents, And now looking back at the explanation that they gave us about how she was just traded away,
And
it makes
Force
perfect
Awakening,
sense. It makes
you know, it
perfect
makes
sense,
perfect sense.
especially in the Force
Yeah,
Awakening.
and it makes perfect sense without a shred of dumb fan theory.
Right, and not to mention that, you know, the Force is bigger than the Skywalkers. I mean,
Yes.
if we look at the
Final
little
moment of
kid,
this film.
you know, having his
Absolutely.
little what's that movie called? Breaking,
Yeah.
with the breakdancing and all that.
Uh-huh.
You know, he grabs his little broom and he's got a little magic, you know, to it. And I really appreciated that because it's like, look,
Yeah.
he could be a Rey too. You know, like it doesn't need to just be
No.
one family and you put all the marbles in one basket that way. So I absolutely
appreciate
enjoyed
that, too.
it. I love the fact that they did that. Any other call outs or anything that you feel like?
The call outs for me were the tonal ones where, I mean, we've talked about this in other shows where music gets me, and John Williams' music is absolutely fantastic in this. Where he has the new themes that he blends in, like the Ray's theme and the music that kind of goes with the island and all that. Like all those new themes that he brought in Force Awakens are there, but when the right moment comes and this movie turns from blockbuster to a quiet moment of character, and that Yoda theme comes back, or
Right.
that Force theme comes in, or
Right.
the old Leia theme comes in, all those callbacks were perfect to me. Without a fan service, like those don't feel like fan service to me. Those feel like etchings into the tapestry.
I forgot to
that
ask.
belong.
What were those earrings that Luke gave her? Is that what he gave her?
Are they like? I think
Those
there's
little
something.
cubicle.
Is it
looking
is
things?
it Han Solo's little windshield dice?
Is
as
that
if
what
he's
those were?
driving the '50s car right now.
I must
I don't know what
have-
they are. I don't recognize them, so
Okay.
I don't know what they are. But obviously they're a trinket of his to go to her.
And if any of you happen to know what those little gold
I could use a
cubes,
comment in the yeah.
please drop a comment and let us know because
Right.
I'm very curious.
Because they end up in Kylo's hand, and I
Right.
wonder if he sees them and goes, "Those are my dad's." Like I wonder if
It
there's
had to-
it's got to be something.
It had to be something with him and Leia.
But then they disappear. So
Well, they
what?
disappear because
Yeah.
Luke was that freaking powerful.
I know. So I don't know what's going on there. It's something.
Hmm.
It's not a huge like make 17 fan theories kind of article, but I love to know.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure one of the Easter egg article
Oh,
hunters will definitely do some homework on that. Now, going back to Kylo,
Yeah.
I guess one of my biggest issues was I don't think his character ever really grew in this entire movie.
That's
the
a fair point.
entire time. It's kind of similar to the Man of Steel situation, right? You know, growing up, feeling conflicted, having to make tough decisions, but you end the movie still kind of conflicted.
Yeah.
And, you know, Kylo, it just felt as though his character never really grew except all he did was change platforms. You know,
Because we have a third film coming. Mm-hmm. Are you saying that in the way that it can happen, or are you saying that in the way of this is still like for a second chapter? I needed more so that whatever's coming has a better bridge. Like, because I think all that's built in and it's coming.
Yeah.
They're just really slow playing it compared to a lot of other reveals and changes.
So I was. Here's the thing. Now we're talking about a movie and a half. How long does it take for you to
Fair question.
for a character to go through a maturation process?
Right.
We saw Luke go through his own maturation process.
Each film was
We
a
saw
different one. That's
Everyone
true.
had their own, except Kylo has to go for
Yeah.
2 movies. Does it take
Right,
3?
you're
now?
right. Luke was really different. Like Luke was immature first movie.
Right.
Dagobah was his learning thing in part 2, and then part 3 he's ready. He's the
He's
man.
ready. He's
ready.
good to go.
Takes
So-
on Jabba and it's on.
Excuse me, man. I'm choking here. So yeah, for Kylo, I was just kind of like.
Therefore, do you need almost like between Empire Strikes Back and Jedi? Do we
No.
need a passage of
No,
time
no,
here? Do we
no.
need a 5 years later situation?
Do
Do we need this to continue the
what?
moment this film ends?
You know what? I do think that, for one, a passage of time will help because
Yeah.
that'll explain Leia's passing.
Yes.
You know, that'll just,
Yeah.
you know.
Especially if they
it'll
have
be-
to CGI something to make it work.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It'll be a lot easier to, you know, in the intro rolling credits, you know, Princess Leia passed away, old
Yeah.
age, you know,
Sure.
joined the Force. I don't know, whatever.
Right.
But it'd be a lot easier to simply. It's a bit of a lazy writing, I think, but to just say, like, you know, for the past 5 years, Kylo Ren has reigned terror, and now he's like the supreme leader. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. Okay, I don't want that. I think that's cheap if they go that route
Yeah.
because in the first movie with Force Awakens, yes, we could kind of see that conflict, and I like that. It was tension. We didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And then when he had to complete his training with Snoke, he was forced to make a difficult decision, as in, killing Rey. Okay, cool. You're going to make a decision one way or another. Looks like he still had tapped into the light side. Great. Looked like he tapped into the light side again when he hesitated on the trigger. Great. But then towards, the end of the battle with when he was tag teaming with Rey, which, by the way, was a great battle scene.
Awesome.
The decision that he makes about, forget about the Jedi, forget about the Empire, let's start our own thing. It sounded so hypocritical because it didn't sound like he was starting anything new.
No.
It sounded like, hey, come and rule with me. We're just gonna rebrand, and it was just like, dude, like, where's the shift?
Yeah, and if we're doing such a good job in this film of building something different, building a connection between the two, building something bigger, for that to be the cop-out turn, so to speak, that's not going to work. That's one weak thing in a movie that doesn't have a lot of weak narrative turns.
Yeah. And I mean, again, we don't see anything new with Kylo. We don't. He shows his hesitation here. He makes a quick little decision to tag team with Rey, but even that decision, I can't say he was doing it for the sake of goodness. He was just doing it because, Snoke looked like he was about to replace him anyway. So it looked like more of a self-preservation type of move. However, even towards the end, it's like, how long are we going to deal with, emo temper tantrum Kylo Ren? Is this really how?
Because by the time he's like, fire every gun at my old teacher, we're back to emo.
It's just like, come on. I get it. He's unstable. He's this, but it's kind of like, we're not.
Yeah. I'm patient. A third film's coming, but that's
a long time.
That's a point of trepidation, though.
This ain't his movie.
Watch it. Well, no, because this is Rey's. Or this is Rey's trilogy.
I don't know. I don't even know.
Maybe that's the rub of what this all is going to go. Like, you thought for a while that they were, especially with the growing connection between Rey and Kylo, like, were they not going to take this from being a Rey thing to a them both thing? And now that they're splintering that with him making the choices you're talking about, the third movie's up for grabs, and that's kind of a cool thing.
It is, but the thing is, I don't know who to be excited to see. Like,
right?
In no way, shape, or form has Kylo demonstrated that he can even compare to Darth Vader's shoes.
Agreed.
And it sucks because Snoke had so much potential to fill in those shoes. And I know the director was saying, Rian Johnson, like, I want to make Snoke basically like, the bad guy, like I want him to be this generation's Darth Vader. And he almost was for like 15 minutes. And
dispatched too easily.
And now, because let's be honest, in a lot of these movies where it's good versus evil, it's really evil that makes good.
Of course, always.
Because if the good side is just so overpowering and, dominant and stuff like that, it doesn't really make for a good story. So I don't know if Kylo has what it takes as a character to live up to this, because what's the trajectory at this point? Every time that Kylo and Rey meet up, they have a conversation about how there's still a little bit of light in him.
I know.
How he can still turn, and like, I don't want to do that for another 2.5 hours.
No. All right, if that's not going to work or it's not working, how's Rey's progression in your eyes? Is that moving in a good place, or is that also? Now we see her grow. She has her. This is her Dagobah moment where she picks up a few things.
What does she grow from?
That's my worry too. Is that she's still the same push, good. Where I don't know if there's the right wrinkle of challenge for her yet either.
Because the only thing that she's done, she's just discovered some things,
right?
But she doesn't feel like a different Rey than what we saw in Force Awakens.
So almost like Kylo, I don't know if she's really all that
I think we just hit on something.
I know.
Now that you mention it, I don't think either one of her.
But because I know this is a trilogy, I can preach patience, but it still counts as a head scratch.
We're critiquing this this
we are
movie.
taking this film.
So this movie
Yeah.
really didn't show that much. I mean, they go through different obstacles.
She
That's
trains.
true.
She gets
trained,
more skill, but does she progress it?
She doesn't
sheds a lot of tears. She tries. The effort's there.
Yeah.
I don't know if the impact matches the effort.
Yeah.
To say it like that.
I guess.
I know. Whoa, did we just poke a hole in the boat?
I'm starting to think so.
I'm wondering. Because I think, honestly, especially in the way we've been talking about it, you can, now that we're on this tangent, you can argue that the older characters show more progression than the younger ones. We see Luke.
Absolutely.
We see Luke go from, hero farm boy to lowest of low and back. We see Carrie Fisher make her strides in terms of not just being a leader, but a calm presence, and all of a sudden force sensitive on all the leaps and the reaches.
Right.
And
I mean, even Poe probably had the most, growth in this entire franchise.
That is still going to pay off too. So, if the two big figureheads don't,
I think that's kind of a problem. Your sub characters shouldn't be outgrowing your main characters,
or your nostalgia factor shouldn't be outgrowing it either.
Right.
This should be fully formed by now. Yet here they go, forming even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop the recording.
Okay,
someone's going to tackle us.
No. We'll go to one last positive.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved the visuals with this, and that scene with Dunham's character, where she does the whole self-sacrifice thing and everything. That scene to me was damn near epic, because I had never seen that before. And people, you guys know me, I give so many points for originality. Just that the slicing through with the hyperspeed and the lights, the lack of sound.
Because they turn it off and it's a space moment right there.
It matches exactly when you're holding your breath.
Yes.
Because I know I was holding I was like,
yeah.
And at that point, silence.
Yeah.
And it was deafening. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So, that I want to say was probably one of my favorite visual scenes. I
enjoyed all the scenes on the island where just the terrain, the dynamics, the color, the production value to create some of those caves and the twisted wood and rock and just to give that place a look that, more than just some swamp where Yoda hangs out, which was the last time we had some mentorship going on. For that place to be a believable route to say it like this, faith. To have this be a believable root of emotion that still has a fissure of darkness sitting underneath it. What the hell was that mirror scene? Where's that going? What was
waiting.
that? What could that be? I gotta wonder if there's more to all this stuff, or where that there's just the how they play this visually. From the small stuff to the big stuff is pitch perfect in the film.
I'm waiting.
Gorgeous.
I gotta wait for the film theorists or whoever to drop their theories, because I
don't know what that was.
Whole scene I was waiting for that too.
Because you thought that's your parent reveal moment.
Oh yeah.
Who's coming out of that shed on the other side of the murky quartz?
They showed two people and then they merged them later, which is sneaky bastards.
Yeah. That's pure Abrams in my opinion. Misdirection to the end. Which is what I worried about all film. I was worried about this film being just effing with us for 2 more hours.
Well, they did.
Still did.
I mean, a lot of things.
But it grew. But the stakes and all the things we talked about.
It did. Is there anything else that we can think of that was worth highlighting?
I hope this film can teach all of us fanboys and clickbaiters a lesson that there are smarter people in this world than us who have a really good handle of where this is going. My opening paragraph of my review tonight is throw everything piece you've read for the last years out the window, because none of them are on point, none of them have a chance, and none of them are going to grasp where these guys have made it such a great point to grasp. Because if you would have told me, before we watched this, that you'd be surprised, and not just for the ways we thought surprises were coming, the Empire's cliffhangers and the surprises we thought were built into this. For them to formulate the new things they did, like we said, Jedi powers and progression, in some progressions in some places. Yeah, I'm immediately impressed. we're poking holes. We certainly
Sure.
are, but boy, it's I don't know. My final thought is I can't. I don't know where it ranks. I'm not sitting here. I'm not ready for that. Like where it is on a list. I need to see. I know we're supposed to judge this film as just this film. I need to see a third chapter to know where they're going with this. I think there's a lot of. I think
this film.
I know, and I will. But there's a lot of payoffs coming.
Let's pretend the third film's not coming.
If the third film's not coming and this is all you get,
Because I thought they ended it pretty well. If it were a standalone.
Yes, definitely. If this is a standalone, it does have an ending.
Does it feel unfair to judge it that way? Okay,
yeah,
that's fair enough.
Yeah, because I'll admit I can't. I'll show my fallibility as a critic on that. Where I have, especially with the way they pace this, like I have to grade this as a progression of Force Awakens, and I would feel incomplete grading this without knowing where the seeds that are planted have going. Like. I'm not saying I can't write this review before 11 a.m. tomorrow, but I have to wait. I have to wait until... I'm not saying this is Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1 versus Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2, where the two just go together and you need them. But I can't. I need a third film. To fully appreciate and see what they've been doing, it's going to take some time.
You're recommending this, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gave The Force Awakens a Fan Lexia Driven 5 2 years ago. I loved it. I didn't mind the New Hope allusions. I love the new characters. Love the new directions. I like the passage of time. I think from a technical standpoint, that film just pops also as well. I don't know. I can't give this film a Fanboy 5 though. Like this is going to get a 4. It's not going to flirt with a 10 best list for the year. It's still a fantastic experience. This is one of those moments where, even a crappy Star Wars film which this is not, it's still going to be better than 1,000 other pieces of sci-fi crap. So, I don't know. If I sleep on it, I don't know. I could be twisted for a 5. But you're right. That's me forgetting things I shouldn't forget. The not just the Fan Lexi stuff, but the things I know aren't working.
Okay.
This is a 4 going in right now. 4 out of 5.
Fair enough. So I definitely think that this is probably the best Star Wars film to date. That is not as high praise as it sounds.
Really?
Only because I'm not saying it's the best film to date. I'm just saying out of the Star Wars films, I think that it's the best by default, only because
I gotta hear this.
They've taken all the different elements that worked in different Star Wars films and put it into this. So this is amalgamation of every Star Wars film that you've seen. So by textbook, reasons,
sure,
that's why it happens to be the best for me.
Okay.
And that's mainly because in this film, there were so many different things that I saw in this movie that I saw in the other Star Wars films. Like when they were doing their whole little heist with the code breaker and stuff like that. I saw Rogue One right there.
Sure.
Obviously the whole, climactic battle with Luke and Kylo, you got the Empire Strikes Back and stuff. So, there are a lot of elements in this movie that are so reminiscent to the good elements of the past Star Wars movies that, yes, I do think that this is the best one to date, but not by far.
Okay.
So, for example, if memory serves me, I think I gave Force Awakens like an 8.5 maybe.
Okay.
This might be closer to like a 9. Again, it has flaws. But overall, the movie is very enjoyable.
Oh, gosh.
I would dare say it is a must-watch.
Absolutely.
In theaters. And, unlike other movies, which, I'm not really big on rewatching films, I wouldn't mind rewatching this.
Me too.
The rewatchability for this film is very high. You might actually mess around and catch some more things that you missed. But yeah, without question, I definitely like the fact that unlike The Force Awakens, for example, this film did everything that I wanted The Force Awakens to do, which was finally start creating its own path,
right?
Its own original path.
Yeah.
Because The Force Awakens, spent, to me, too much time paying homage and living in the past, with all the callbacks and all the, fan service. I thought that
Sure.
movie was the epitome of fan service, actually.
Yeah. It has it.
So, I mean, I totally understand why people would like it, but if we're trying to bring in a new audience, if we're trying to create new chapters, if we're trying to make this actual franchise move forward and not just, hinge and be anchored by the Skywalker name and everything that the previous movies have done, then this movie has shown me positive steps, not leaps and bounds, but positive steps in the right direction. The fact that you've shown me different things with the Force that I've never seen before. The fact that, certain characters that you would assume would live didn't. The unpredictability with a lot of things. That's what I want to see with the film. So
you call it the best film. I'll use a different adjective. This is the richest Star Wars film.
Okay, that's fine.
Because, like you said, the gravitas is unique and strong. The character heft is there. The colors are there. The dazzlement is still there. Like I won't call this the best, but I may call it the richest.
Knee-jerk reaction. What's the best Star Wars film that comes today?
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire. Okay, that's fine.
That's not just cliffhanger alone, but just the way that like. I'll admit when I came back to Star Wars like as a teen, I watched it as a kid, but I didn't put that much credence to it. But when I really sat down and like watched it, probably right around when the reissues came out in '97, I watched the first Star Wars, A New Hope, and I was bored out of my mind for the first hour. Like, this is dumb robots walking around the sand. I'm bored out of my mind. So when The Empire Strikes Back comes and it's foreboding bad guy, learning and teaching, big, Cloud City and Lando, and the Han and Leia dynamic, and then you get that amazing, legendary cliffhanger. That's on another plane to me. That's far and away the best Star Wars.
And it's totally fine. I mean, I'm saying this as again, a casual Star Wars movie fan. The first time I actually got introduced to all the other Star Wars films was when the prequels were announced. And when they were announced, that's when I decided to watch the originals to lead up to the prequels, so that way I could be all caught up.
Yeah.
And then when Force Awakens came out, I rewatched the originals again with a new sense of appreciation, because at that time I was more in a film critic state of mind, and then drudged through the prequels again. But yeah, I mean, and I don't know, maybe it's a matter of the passage of time for me. I totally understand how Empire Strikes Back at that time would have been better. I guess the way I likened it is kind of like Empire Strikes Back is kind of like the Avengers, if we're talking about comic book movies.
All right.
And then this Last Jedi is kind of like what Guardians of the Galaxy did. And a lot of people don't have the same sentiment, but when I compared Avengers, which I gave a perfect 10 at that point.
I did as well.
To Guardians of the Galaxy, which I also gave a perfect 10. The difference between them was the fact that Guardians of the Galaxy did almost everything formulaically that Avengers did, except they put it in space and they added more humor. And it was just like a natural progression. I mean, if there was never an Avengers, we never would have had a Guardians of the Galaxy. So Avengers gets points for originality, but in
culmination.
In culmination, yeah.
That at the time, that was a miracle to put all those characters
absolutely.
together in a film.
But Guardians of the Galaxy kind of was like inflation, in the sense where like, we did all the cool things and we put it in a slightly newer way, and yes, it's great, but who do you give the points to? The original plot twister, Empire Strikes Back, or the culmination of all the Star Wars films now with The Last Jedi? I don't want to say anyone would be a prisoner of the moment, but to me, it's one of those things. Again, like I said, by default, it happens to go a little bit higher up the rank. At least for me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Love to hear your thoughts on this.
Let us know in the comments below. Did you think that The Last Jedi was the best Star Wars movie to date? If not, have fun with disagreeing with me. Maybe you agree with Don. Maybe you don't think Don was right. Maybe you actually like Clone Wars. Let us know in the comments below. But I think that's it. We're getting close to an hour here. So, Don, tell the happy people where they can find you.
You can find me anywhere and everywhere you search for the term Every Movie Has a Lesson. EveryMovieHasALesson.com, Twitter, Facebook. I got to fire up the YouTube better than I do, but that's where you find me.
Awesome. And you all know already, you can find me at emansmoviereviews.com, or you can find me now at themovieblog.com. But most importantly, follow me on my Facebook fan page. We are now, thankfully, so appreciatively, at 40,000 fans. I want to say thank you and shout out to every single one of you guys that come back and just make the site great. You know, I love reading your comments and interacting with everyone. There'll definitely be a video review up already because this is not going to go up at least until maybe Monday or Tuesday, because I want to give everyone a chance to actually watch the film first. So, as always, take it easy. I'll see you guys until next time. Bye.